from corporate coach to health coach. Learn how this executive coach with over 20 years experience in the coaching industry transitioned to become a health coach following the transition of her husband who passed, and how she saw a gap, a need for widows out there who were not caring for themselves, caregivers who couldn't care for themselves, and how that led her to create a soul satisfying practice, doing work that she truly loves and creating greater freedom for herself. I cannot wait for you to hear her story and all of the intricacies of this. And if you're someone who's struggling with blood pressure or kidney issues, you're definitely going to want to tune in. This woman knows a lot about this topic. So welcome, Karen Weaver.
Thank you. So nice to be with you, Dr. Shaunna.
I am so excited for people to hear your story. You have, as I mentioned, like a tremendous corporate background. And you tell us a little bit about what you were doing before you became a health coach. What was life like? What was your career like?
Okay, so I actually most of my career was in the public sector, and I served as a leadership coach, and I worked with entry level up to senior executives, and I helped them with career issues, work-life balance, caregiving issues, anything that would impact them doing their job. And health definitely was one of those issues that would come up from time to time.
Okay, so there you are. It's a little bit about health, but not like strongly about health. Tell us a little bit about how did the health aspect come into it? Sometimes people had health challenges as a kid, and that inspired them to go in the health career, or they had a family member with it. Tell us a little bit about that journey to move over into a greater focus on health.
Yeah, I think the greater focus on health for me came from my caregiving experience with my husband. He had a massive stroke at the age of 39, and I was his caregiver for 27 years. And
Wow.
so I just had a real interest in health, and I was managing his health. I also discovered I had one functional kidney as a preteen, so health became an issue for me as I got older as well. So
And
that's yeah, I started.
so when you're a preteen and you find out you have or you have one kidney, did that say sometimes that issue is oh, that I'm going to be a nurse or a doctor. I met a nice nurse doctor. I want to do that as my career. I don't think so because you didn't do that. And sometimes it's like, no, not an interest, or no, I'm gonna try to be like all of the other kids. Tell me a little bit about what role that
Yeah.
played. What happened when you found out you have one kidney?
Well, that's interesting. No, I didn't like decide I wanted to become a doctor. I was really just trying to be like a regular kid.
Yeah,
But I think some of the challenges for me were that like I couldn't do bumper cars and I couldn't play contact sports
yeah.
and my parents became like overconsumed. My grandparents became overconsumed with worrying about me injuring my functioning kidney. So, while I was trying to be like the normal kid, I was always mindful because people were reminding me that there was something different about me, and people really didn't want to do have anything happen to me that would impact me even further.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I just really ate what I wanted, did what I wanted. I didn't really even think about it being an issue until I got much older. I mean, I didn't really realize what it actually meant to only have one kidney.
And I think, and that would make sense as a kid, and it would make sense how your parents reacted because they're concerned, but you're like, I just want to be like everybody else. Now you mentioned that later on that became an issue. So tell us about like when you're like, man, I only have one kidney and I have to, be more mindful. What happened then?
So just watching my husband go through the process of losing a kidney, then he got transplant kidney, then he lost that kidney, watching him go on dialysis. And then I went to a regular doctor's appointment and my doctor told me that she felt that I was losing kidney function based on my blood work. So they sent me to a nephrologist. So as a result of that, it became like, okay, now I need to monitor my kidney and I need to pay attention to my blood pressure. I need to pay attention to when I'm eating. I need to pay attention to my weight. I need
Yeah.
to pay attention to things that will impact my kidney function. So I really had to take some recommendations and really change my way of being, change my lifestyle so that I could actually maintain my kidney function. And I was actually able to actually improve my kidney function, which was, something that you don't normally always get to do.
Right. Yeah, you kind of think it's a one way ticket to
Yeah,
deterioration, and it's really amazing when you can see it. Hey, some of these things you can reverse, some of these things you
yeah,
can improve. A lot of people don't think they can, so they don't do anything different about it. But when you
right.
change things, then you get different results, and you're certainly a testament to that, improving that on your own. What was the link in then with well, who is it that you're passionate about helping now? Like who do you like helping now that you're focused more on health? Who is it that you're passionate about helping?
Well, now, as a result of just my experiences with my husband, being a caregiver for many, many years, and then once he transitioned, becoming a widow, I'm really focused on those women who find themselves that they've done the caregiving for a long, long time. They're widows, and they need to improve their own health, whether it be like improving their blood pressure. They have compromised kidney function and sometimes just trying to achieve some sustainable weight loss and doing all this while navigating the grief process, and because it's not always an easy thing to do when you're a caregiver or a widow, to try to actually focus on your own health.
Yeah, so many people are when they're in that caregiving role, they're so used to caring for everybody else,
Yes, yeah,
and it's really hard. And sometimes things are dire, let's say, or extreme, and it really your own health does definitely take a back seat. And then widows in particular, like what I think what you were noticing is these widows who now, okay, they were no longer caregiving for that person,
right,
but they were no longer like able to really care for themselves,
yeah,
and grief is awful. Like it's like a wave. It just can be swallow you up, and I know that you have such a soft spot for these women who are going through, or it doesn't have to be women, but a lot of them are, who are going through these challenges, and they really just don't know like what to do or that anything can be done. And it is,
absolutely.
an incredible journey from corporate coach with, from that level from 20 years. And I'm sure some of that skill set that you had there is fantastically repurposed into the work that you do now that is really soul aligned and very loving and tender. What do you like best about, being a health coach, doing this work?
Well, I definitely love helping people. I
Mhm.
love helping people to learn how to better take care of themselves. I love the flexibility of being a coach. I love being my own boss. Um, I just love the idea that, I have more control of my life and my
Yeah.
schedule, and I can make myself more available to my family for what my family needs. But certainly it's always rewarding to be able to know that you're helping someone to be more empowered, to take more responsibility for their own health.
Yeah, and really to have that close connection with somebody. I love the transformations, the before and afters,
Yes.
problem to solution. I can't get enough of it myself. So I really appreciate that's where that soul satisfying. You're like, I'm making a
Yeah,
meaningful
it
difference.
is.
You
It
get
is.
really, up close and personal with that difference, and very rewarding. What's something like, I know when I was a health coach way back, and I was working with clients, like they learned from me and they had transformations, but I also learned from them as well. So there were things that I grew as well. They grew, but I grew too, as through the process. What's something that you've learned or has improved through the process of working with your clients, becoming a health coach? What are some things that you've observed?
Yeah, I think one of the great things, well, certainly I've learned how to manage my own health
Hmm.
a lot better. And I know it's a process and I know everyone is different. So, one size does not fit all. But I've also, learned what it means to actually be an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
And because, coaching isn't all about coaching, which is the soul satisfying piece.
Yeah.
There's a lot of business aspect that goes into having your structure and being able to, do the things that you need to do with ease on the business side.
Hmm.
I think that in itself has been rewarding. Just the fact that I know that I can be an entrepreneur and I'm operating as an entrepreneur. And so I think that in itself, gives some satisfaction for sure.
Yeah, it's such a journey, and it's an unexpected journey. Healers, heart-centered healers, they want to they want that transformation. They want to help people with that. It feels really good. But so many, struggle to get clients. How do they structure this? What is
Yeah.
that scaffolding? That's one of the reasons we exist here at the Health Professional Academy, why we're on a mission to, I know we got your little gold spot on our map here somewhere, why we're on a mission to help, health coaches, healers get their message out there, their unique gifts and talents so that they can do the work that they're uniquely qualified for. And it's usually because of personal tragedies often and hardships that you had to learn the hard way so that you can be the beacon and guide others and make it easier. And so I always say you bring the heart, we bring the systems so that you can enjoy the purpose-driven business of your dreams. And it really makes a difference. It
Absolutely.
really helps to have that scaffolding, if you will, to be able to like pour into it your niche and your gifts so that you can be supported in serving these people. So it's
Yeah.
really great. Yeah. I love.
Definitely having the structure because I mean the marketing is such a huge piece of it, the business structure and the marketing, because it doesn't matter how well you serve as a coach if you don't have any clients. So
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
really have to learn the business aspect if you want to be successful in the
Yeah.
coaching
Yeah,
business.
it's so important. And if you happen to be a healer and they're like, "Oh, I'm wondering, how do I do that?" I happen to give this book for free, Six Figure Health Coach. There'll be a link below. Just get a free copy of it, enjoy it. It's that scaffolding, and there's always an opportunity if you want to connect more and look into that. But that book has been really helpful for a lot of people,
Yes,
so to
enjoyed
kind of get
it.
us to get a start there. So you're helping these widows who often struggle to care for themselves, to improve their blood pressure, which is a huge problem.
Mhm.
You've experienced it. Your husband experienced it. Like it's a huge problem in North America, and you help them optimize kidney function. That's something that's even a little bit more unique. But you follow that high blood pressure down, then you'll see that,
Yeah,
or diabetes or whatever. Like kidney function is really important, and we kind of most of us take it for granted until we can't take it for
yeah,
granted.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's one of those things that you're uniquely qualified for, and it's so interesting, as a kid having one kidney, then having your husband have kidney issues. It is, like it or not, here you are, being an expert in this realm with people who are struggling with kidney function, which most health coaches don't specialize in that. And that's something that you're really uniquely set to do. And then, of course, helping them with weight loss. Like you said, like, when you're struggling and we eat our feelings and different things like that,
Yeah,
you know,
yes.
afterwards, comfort foods. I remember after every um, I remember my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law passed within 24 hours about 15 years ago. But it was like right away, like sudden like that. And that just kind of sucker punched me and threw me off. And I gained about 40 pounds after that. It was like, why? At least 20, but it was like, it was significant. And I stopped doing the things that were good for me. Like, I'm like, what's the point? Like, we're going to
Mhm.
die anyways. Like, why are we
Yeah,
even doing this? And you just
right.
kind of feel really, it feels tragic. So we can lose our way in that. And then it's kind of hard to get back on track. And then for widows, especially if they're used to being caring for somebody. And then
Mhm.
finally, like there's just often nothing left in the tank to care for themselves. So,
Yeah.
what would you say is the biggest myth that maybe widows are facing when they're navigating grief about how to even bother to care for themselves or take their health
Yeah.
seriously?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that, I found is that, people feel that when you're in a state of grief or when you have this sense of sadness, that you really don't have capacity to do anything to improve your health. I mean, it's
Mhm.
like not having the energy, not having the interest. So it really, takes somebody. Sometimes it takes somebody just walking alongside of you, helping you to understand that there are things that you can do to improve your health. And there are things you can do to support yourself in the grieving journey. You don't have to do this alone. It's not a Lone Ranger type of
Right.
situation to be in for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, like if they are a caregiving role, they're good at helping others, but not so good at receiving help for themselves.
Yeah.
And now the downside of that is if you are kind of being swallowed up by the grief and
Mhm.
overwhelmed and drowning, if you are in that, then um, it doesn't end well. Like
Yeah.
you if you can't care for yourself and you don't have someone else help, that then you end up getting to the point where you need somebody to help you.
Yeah.
Like you
Absolutely.
you need to now be caregiven. Is that a word? But you now
Yes, that's
need
somebody
to,
to take an interest in what's going on with your health, for
yeah,
sure. And you don't
exactly.
you you don't want to get to that point where you have some type of major event. You want to be able to sort of take control, take responsibility for your health, while you're able to, make those shifts that you need to get you to a better state of well-being.
Yeah, and it's possible. I mean, that's the wonderful thing. It is
Absolutely.
possible. Like you don't have to struggle and you can get on the other side of it and you don't have to do this alone. And that is one of the things that sometimes you just need someone to give you an energetic hug, if nothing else, but somebody who's like, "Hey, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Here's what happened. Here's what's working for me. Here's what you need to do." And
Yeah.
like, man, if you've ever been in one of those, like it's probably not that somebody is in that position many, many times, right? Like we don't have the experience of going through and being, hopefully not a widow many times over, right? And so we don't have the playbook for this. We didn't go to school for this. Like, how do we react? What do
Mhm.
we do? And so
Mhm.
it's really helpful for somebody who's already been through it, who, especially when you come from decades of coaching and nurturing and supporting, and that structure, but then also the personal ability with what you have to kind of like lay out the path and just say, here, do this. Like,
Yeah.
here you go.
Yeah,
Just take it
absolutely.
tiny step by tiny step at a time. I've got you. I've got you. And so that they can just kind of relax into it and kind of inch by inch step themselves out of that so that they can enjoy. I mean, I think the biggest thing is one of the myths is that they can't ever be happier. They can't ever be healthier. And you've helped
Yes.
people be healthier than they were before. I mean, that was the turning point that changed everything. And there are people out there who had a tragedy like that. And
Yeah.
then they've used that, they've taken the bounce off of rock bottom and into something that was way better than they were before this event happened. And you are just the person that is able to help people alchemize that pain into, greater health, greater purpose, as you've done for yourself. You really alchemized your pain into this purpose-driven, amazing
Absolutely.
practice that you have.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. How have you grown as a health coach through this process, as a person, really? How have you grown as a person through the process of becoming a health coach, from corporate coach to health coach? Like, what else
Hmm.
has improved for you? What do you love about that? How have you grown?
Well, I love my lifestyle and, like the flexibility. I feel like I have more control over my health, the decisions I make, the choices I make. I know it makes a difference. So I just like the whole idea of being able to know more about how to take better care of myself. And the fact that I actually have capacity to give to others and help them on their health journey. So Yeah, I love being a health coach, and
Yeah,
I love the idea of helping people to see that they can make a shift in their lives, and it just takes some commitment and it takes some mind shift, but it is possible because I see people all the time and they're feeling like, oh, I really can't do that, and you hear the excuses on and on and on and on, but what if you could? What if you really could achieve sustainable weight loss? What
yeah,
if you really could get your blood pressure down?
yeah,
What does that really look like? So,
yeah.
yeah. So I think it's just a great field, a great expertise to be a part of at this time.
Yeah, my health coaching is like what I feel like is one of the best careers because you get to design it how you like to design it.
Yeah,
You get to work with who you want, when you want, how you want, where you want. It's extremely rewarding,
yeah,
to lead with love, have a heart of service. And then if when you're actually able to make a difference, it's just like the best. But you have the
yeah,
freedom, so you don't have to sacrifice living for making a living.
right.
And so that, yeah, I agree. I just love it. So now,
Yeah,
one of the things, like once we've gone through a journey, it's like there's lessons to be had. And like I always go, man, if I could go back and tell myself, here, almost like, hey, by the way, do this,
right,
buy
right.
stock in, no. But if you could go back and tell your former self, something like, what kind of lesson kind of have you learned or message would you want to share with, and go back as long as you want to go back, but what would you
Yeah,
tell your former self?
yeah. Start now. I mean, when I think about the fact that I knew about my kidney when I was a preteen, I mean, if I had known just what that meant, I could have started some healthy practices a long time ago. So start now. Don't wait until you have some major health event before you actually start paying attention to your health, taking responsibility for your health. So I think that's, one of the main things about the whole health process. And for sure, just in being a coach, um, I wish I had known about coaching a long time ago.
Yeah.
And just all the opportunity it affords you to kind of live out your full potential, really serve people in a different way that comes from the heart. And it's just a total different way of being than doing corporate coaching for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very up close, personal, customized, hand holding.
Yeah.
And you see the results, like you can
Yeah.
see the transformation. You're a part of it. You're
Yeah.
you're you're in it with it and part of the journey, which really is really rewarding. I agree. It's fantastic. Um, and yeah, I was gonna say like we have all I and having said that, not to go and beat yourself up as beat your 14 or whatever preteen self up for not doing that, because that's a totally normal reaction. And who
Yeah.
knows, maybe that was all meant to be anyways,
Right.
because if you hadn't have gone through what you went through, you wouldn't be the amazing coach and be able to guide people now, because you would have never had struggled with it per
Right.
se.
Yeah.
And but also, it is a good warning flash out there for people, because a lot of people will wait until they absolutely have to. And
Yes.
even for myself, like leaving my medical career, like 25 years as a doctor and then to become a health coach, I waited way too long. And
Hmm.
like I should have quit 15 years before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a quitter. But it was time to move. And I had I didn't follow my heart. And I was trying to still do like what everybody else was saying, like you're a doctor, just stay being a doctor. And
Right.
and but instead listening to that, still small voice within that says like, go this way, go this way. But when we don't go, we can get, I always say, follow, now I know, follow your calling, just come along
Oh
quietly
my
and nobody
goodness.
gets hurt. But it's when you like resist. When I stayed, man, I got beat up really bad.
Yeah.
and it was not it didn't need to be that painful. And so for myself, I would say, start earlier, start now, like, take proactive action in those steps. Yeah, don't wait for the diagnosis, don't wait for it to be life threatening, don't wait until then. Start
Mhm.
now. And because your former self or your future self, that's, I hear that all the time. One is, don't worry, it's going to work out. That's one way, one thing
Yeah,
to say.
yeah,
That's, and
absolutely.
then start now. Like, if I'd have known then what I know now, and like just start and keep focused positively. So really, really great. I mean, we learn as we go.
Yes.
The other thing that I like to do is when people are working with their clients, and one of the really big benefits is when you get to root cause, when you help people get to those root issues rather than like slapping band-aids on here.
Hmm. Hmm.
The benefits are immense. Just like when you do those, some of those other, modalities there is like a lot side effects, and the side effects for the side effects of the side effects. You can go down that road, but also there's an other opportunity to have things get better and better and better. So I think the best way to kind of highlight the benefits of working with health coaches, for example, and getting to root cause and really customizing things for people is you see like the tremendous benefits. So I think one of the best ways to demonstrate that is to share a case study or an example or two of somebody that you worked with. You were starting with this and we're solving this problem, but then we got these other benefits. Any stories that you have to share in that
Yeah.
regard, Karen?
Yeah, so it comes to mind, I'm working with a woman who was working on her eating and trying to lose weight. But once we really got into her story, sleep was a huge issue for her life. Um, she was grumpy. She was short with people. She didn't have the energy she needed just to get through the day. She was, managing multiple volunteer activities and had multiple family obligations. And just working with her and trying to get her just to cut out the electronics at night, get a bed schedule, really made a difference. And once she was able to get more sleep, she was able to actually, transform herself. And also it impacted her relationships and she just showed up differently in general. She did improve her eating habits and she lost a little bit of weight. So it's amazing how just one little thing in your life the change in you can impact other people. So that's why it's really important for us to, focus on things that have to do with our health, because we don't realize that when our health is compromised, it's not only impacting us, but it's impacting those around us and
For
it's
sure.
impacting how we interact with other people as
Yeah, for sure. And curious if you're listening to this and it's at night and you're on your electronics watching
well.
this, comment below. We love you. We love you, and we know that there are a lot of people in this boat. That's when you finally get a chance to look at this and like, but it does disrupt. And if you, especially if you have disrupted sleep,
Yeah.
and we'll share in a moment how you can get in touch with Karen who can help you with that. But I'm going to say because of electronics in particular and
Yeah.
the fast-paced, crazy lifestyles, it's sleep's more of an issue now than really it ever
Yes.
was. It's much more. More and more people are struggling with it. They're like caffeinated. They're going to alcohol, all those things to kind of get themselves through the day. Like coffee to get going in the morning, wine to wind down at night,
Right. Yeah.
repeat, repeat, and it's really like taking its toll on people's health, and their sleep is disrupted. Then when their sleep's disrupted, they gain weight, they increase their ghrelin, their leptin,
Mhm.
etc. They get all out of balance, and so they increase their cortisol, they increase their belly fat, and then they're struggling, and then they just can't get out of it, and they don't have the energy to get through their day, so then they stay up late
Yeah.
because they're not done, and it just kind of falls off the rails. But then look at when, you know, as Karen, you were able to guide her through that to help her. She came for weight loss and she lost weight and got some energy. But also, when we get to the root of looking at those lifestyles and like, how can we improve these things? then the ripple effects are like immense. And of course,
Yeah.
when you get sleep, you're going to be happier and more energized and
Yeah.
relations, everybody would be like that. Any other examples that you care to share? Maybe
Um,
no example.
well, like in working with a widow, I mean, of course, as a widow, you're going through the grieving process. I had a person who was basically just overeating. She was just eating through her feelings. And that's kind of understandable when you're in that process. And um, grief impacts people really in different ways. So really trying to get her to, look at her eating habits and to be able to start doing some movement and just taking some little steps to sort of change her way of being, um, get her out of a pre-diabetic state and lose some weight and really just improve her overall way, health.
Yeah, so important. Like as one thing improves, like everything improves. And it is a journey and really having her you know, re unwind, so as the weight creeps up, then we start to stack the blood pressure issues, the diabetes, the this, the that, and then but also when the weight goes down, then the knee pain gets better and the diabetes gets better, and we can unravel it as well. It's so important at the work that health coaches do and that you do as at getting to the root and really taking the time to see for this person specifically what's the issue. So for the other woman, sleep, and for this woman she may have had sleep issues as well, but the
Right.
crux of it was more on the weight, which was the impetus here, and emotional eating and helping support her through that. Phenomenal work that you do, Karen. Thank you so much for being here. How can people get in touch with you, whether if you're a widow, if you're or if you struggle with blood pressure or kidney function or stubborn weight, or someone who does? How can people get in touch with you, Karen?
My website is www.crosswalkcoaching, all one word.com. And I'm also on Instagram under Crosswalk Coaching.
Crosswalkcoaching.com. So check Karen out. Karen, can I ask you, how did you come up with the name Crosswalk Coaching?
Oh, that's really a funny story. But actually, my treadmill, when I was walking one day, I noticed the name of the brand was Crosswalk. And I thought, oh, that's just such a neat concept. Just thinking of the idea of, you know, crosswalk, taking a different path, different journey, intersection. It had all the images in my mind that I think about when I think about coaching, like
Yeah.
doing something in a different way. Yes.
I love it. It's a kind of helping walk people over to the other side of the street.
Yeah.
You're going
Yeah.
down this grief path, and it's unhealthy habits and consequences, and let's go the crosswalk together and bring
Do
you
something
onto
different.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, alter the trajectory. I love that. I'm glad I asked. So if you are a health coach and you're like, I want to do this work, I want to be able to have a soul satisfying practice, check out this next video on how to get your health practice started, those key steps to get your practice up and running. And with that, have a fantastic week, everyone. And thank you so much, Karen, and everyone be
Yeah.
good for you.